and welcome to the Rick House. My name is Cyrus Farmer, and you are watching and listening to the Stomp the Tee podcast. Folks, happy opening day for all you baseball fans out there. I know there were several of you out there. So congratulations. Hope your team won, did what they needed to do. I know the Yankees beat the Brewers. I think it was 4-2, so we're off to a good start. Folks, we have a lot to get into tonight, so let me give you a sense about what we're going to be talking about on tonight's episode. We will talk a little bit about the TGL finals that took place this current week, actually, on Monday and Tuesday. It was the best of three, and we'll talk about who won and what I thought about them winning, so on and so forth. We're also going to be talking about my latest round of golf, which actually happened yesterday. It was quite an experience. Also, we're going to be talking about being 2 weeks away from the start of the Masters. We're going to be talking about Tiger's, in my opinion, top 5 major wins. Of all 15 that he's won, what do I think are the top 5 in that category? And of course, everyone's favorite segment, what are you drinking tonight? But first, I do want to do a little housekeeping, and I want to get one or two things off my chest. So, I know you're all waiting with bated breath. The Wolf Watch is in day 19. Folks, I got to tell you, there is news to report on the Wolf Watch. Some of you who have not followed this show closely may be saying, what is the Wolf Watch? Well, I'll give you a brief explanation. I bought my wife, for her birthday, a Wolf gourmet countertop convection oven. It's basically a very fancy toaster oven. But my wife thought it was too large for the counter space that we have in our kitchen, and she wanted to take it back. We tried to take it back, but because I bought it earlier, we couldn't return it. It was past the 30-day window, so now we have to keep this Wolf, which is great for me. I love Wolf products, and I can't wait to see what this thing does when she opens the box, which she hasn't done yet, which is why this is called the Wolf Watch. Okay, you're up to date. There's progress to report. The unopened box of the Wolf Gourmet Countertop Convection Oven was moved. It was moved from our dining room table to the floor in our dining room beside the credenza. I guess some people call it a sidebar. Folks, I got to tell you, there is no end in sight. Now, I set Memorial Day as the over-under for when my wife would actually open the box and start using this, what I thought was a lovely birthday gift, a Wolf convection oven. But who knows? I've taken the over. I think it'll be after Memorial Day, but I do think it'll be before 4th of July. Who knows? But I will say this. As I told you before, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to mention anything about it. I'm not going to say, honey, why didn't you do this? Honey, why didn't you do that? I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to leave it alone. Unless and until my lovely wife, Donna is her name, folks, who's gorgeous, by the way. Unless and until my wife asked me or directs me to take the Wolf unopened box down to the basement to get it out of the dining room, then I'm going to have to say a couple things. I'm like, look, we're not moving this thing around in an unopened box. We're going to open the box if we're going to move it out of the dining room. So I will keep you posted. I will let you know what happens. Again, day 19 of the Wolf Watch, and the box is still unopened. Boy, my wife she can be very stubborn at times. Or maybe another way to put it is headstrong. Anyway, I love her. I'm guilty. All right, There's another item I'd like to actually get off my chest while we're here. So I have to tell you folks, we have received proof of life from my golf buddy Skip. He checked in after last week's show in the way only Skip can. Folks, I want to give you an example of what I've had to deal with for over 20 years now. Skip and I went to college, by the way. But we just started playing golf about 20 years ago, and it has been an adventure. Now, look, folks, Skip knows that I, your humble host, Cyrus Farmer, tends to gravitate towards higher proof whiskeys. That is just my bailiwick. It's the kind of thing that I like. It's not like I never drink anything under 100 proof, but I just prefer, when push comes to shove, to drink something that is higher proof. My palate is tuned to higher proof whiskeys. I like the flavor distinctions and the craftsmanship involved. We talked about this a million times on other episodes, why I like higher proof whiskeys. So, by the way, like Elijah Craig, which I think comes in at like 94 proof, it is one of my favorite everyday bourbons. So I'm not exclusive when it comes to drinking whiskey or bourbon to 100 proof or higher. I just prefer 100 proof or higher. So this guy, after I called him out, Skip, my golfing buddy, Skip, after I called him out on last week's show, what does he do? He sends me a text, and folks, I'm gonna pull this up for you. For those of you listening, I'm gonna describe what I'm about to pull up. For those of you on YouTube watching the show, I'm going to show you a picture of the text that he sent. This is the actual picture. So it's a series of bottles. It's about 6 bottles. And the caption behind the bottle, underneath the bottle says, all below 100 proof, .. hashtag WAYDT. Hashtag, what are you drinking tonight? Folks, I have to tell you, the picture, for those of you who either couldn't see clearly on YouTube and those of you who are listening to the podcast, it's a picture of what I assume to be the 2025 Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. All right. Which is, in long story short, that is a collection that comes out every year. It includes several Pappy Van Winkles. It includes George T. Stagg Jr. It includes Weller, all the stuff that Buffalo Trace makes. They send out a special collection that usually gets earmarked above retail. So for you to get it, you're paying several $100s for each bottle. Now, folks, you see what I have to deal with? Skip, my buddy Skip Jones, I'm telling you his last name. My buddy Skip Jones here, instead of taking the message that I sent in last week's episode in the spirit in which it was given, which is, hey, buddy, I'd love to play golf with you again. What does he do? He sends me a picture of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Now, in this picture, there is the 10-year-old Rip Van Winkle. I'll show you the picture again and like zoom in. There's there's another Rip. There's the Pappy. There's another Pappy. There's another Pappy. I mean, this guy let's be fair. This guy's an asshole. I mean, he gonna show off your collection to me instead of meeting me on the golf course. Okay, so Skip, I'm gonna say this out loud, right here and right now. Number 1, 2, and 3. I will meet you on any golf course, anywhere in the country or in the world, because I want my $6. Stop ducking me. Stop showing me all the fancy liquor you decided to buy. If you want to show me some fancy liquor, bring a bottle to the golf course. That's what I want to see. But most importantly, don't forget your wallet and make sure you got $6 in there, because I am going to take care of you early and often in this golf season. Skip Jones. Get off your wallet. Give me my $6 every single time. Okay, folks. Now that I got that out of the way, before we get started in the show proper, I do want to remind you, don't forget to tell your friends to like, to subscribe, to do anything you would do to support a show that you love, which is, in this particular example, the Stomp the Tee podcast. We're here for you each and every week. We will give you original content each and every week, content that you can't get anywhere else. So don't forget to spread the word about Stomp the Tee. We're here for you, and we are going to be doing this ad infinitum for as long as we have breath in our lungs. All right, so let's get into the show. TGL Finals. Folks, I have to say, I did not watch the first round of the finals. It was a best of 3 over 2 nights. First round was won by the Atlanta Drive Golf Club. That's Billy Horschel and Justin Thomas and Patrick Cantlay and Lucas Glover. That's their team. The team is owned by Arthur Blanks, owner of the Atlanta Falcons. They won the first night. I did tune in to the last few holes on round 2 on Tuesday night. Folks, it was fun. It was exciting. It was a good watch. TGL, I think, has been established as an entertaining outlet. So before we go any further, I want to congratulate the Atlanta Drive Golf Club for winning the inaugural SoFi Cup in the TGL League this year. They beat the New York Golf Club, Ricky Fowler, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Cam Young, and Xander Schauffele, who played well. They beat them 2 out of 2 matches. They didn't need the third match because it's best of 3. I will say this. Billy Horschel sank a double breaker of a putt to win a hole on 14, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And of course, Patrick Cantlay, to end the whole match on 15, hit a chip, I think, to basically tap in range. It was almost as good as Billy Horschel's putt. I really enjoyed TGL this season. And again, the best thing about TGL, you do not have to watch a match from start to finish. You can dip in. If you know it's going to be on a certain day, you can dip in early, middle, or late and usually get some entertainment under your belt, because the format is actually pretty good and it's condensed enough to where you're not spending all night watching something. I think it's a success. I like it myself personally, and I'm kind of into it. So congratulations to Atlanta Drive Golf Club. Now, speaking of golf, folks, I played a round of golf yesterday. I played it at a course called Jeffersonville, which is here in the Philadelphia area. Public course. Donald Ross design, one of the best kept secrets in the entire state of Pennsylvania. Folks, the green fee for my afternoon round, which started at 12 o'clock noon yesterday, this was a Wednesday, was $45, cart included. Folks, when you see this course, again, it's a Donald Ross design. The course is in good shape. They just punched the greens, I think, about a week and a half earlier. So the greens actually were rolling and holding pretty well. But it is going to be in tremendous shape as the spring moves on and we carry into summer. And it's just an interesting golf course. I've never really been a big fan of the back nine. I've always liked the front nine more at Jeffersonville. And I have to say, yesterday's round, I kind of started to see and figure out and understand the charm of the back nine at Jeffersonville. It is completely worth a stop. They just rebuilt the clubhouse that opened a year ago. They just the rebuild finished about a year ago. They have two simulators down in the basement, a couple restaurants up top. They have a paddock, which is a little shack at the turn where you can buy food and drink. It is just, the infrastructure is really well. The putting green alone it used to be this small little area. Now it's this huge, expansive putting green with slope. I'll see if I can get a couple pictures for you guys and I'll post them on the social. Jeffersonville, completely worth checking out if you're ever in the Philadelphia area and in the mood for some public golf. But folks, I have to tell you, this round that I played yesterday, it was probably the coldest round of golf that I've ever played. Folks, you have to understand, I'm the same guy years ago who played around at Cog Hill number 4, Dubsdread course, the day before Thanksgiving with mid-30 temperatures and a slight drizzle. Folks, that was nothing compared to yesterday's round. I don't know if my blood is getting thinner. I don't know what the deal is. But yesterday's round, the highs, let me give you a little sense. The highs were mid-40s. And when I say mid-40s, the highs were probably around between 43 and 45 degrees. But peekaboo sun, very, very, very much. The majority of the time, it was dark cloud cover. Very little sun throughout the entire round. And winds 15 to 20 miles an hour throughout the round. Folks, my feet got cold around hole 11. And I was not underdressed. I had a golf shirt on. On top of that, I had a golf vest on. On top of that, I had a golf 3/4 zip on. I also had a snood around my neck. A snood, which is, it's kind of like a tube that you put on. A snood. You guys know. So some people call them gaiters, right? They're technically called snoods. I have a snood that I have around my neck. I have a snood on my head. And I have my Ping golf mittens that I'm putting on and off between every shot. And I was still cold. I didn't remove a single layer. I'm in pants, by the way, not shorts. I didn't remove a single layer throughout the entire round. Folks, it was so cold that all 3 playing partners left by the 16th hole. I mean, it's like, I'm like, if I can get to 16, I'm going to finish the round. It's not that big of a deal. I've been cold all day. But I will say this. It was very, very, very cold. I don't know. I can't wait to play in warmer weather. All right. So let's get to the meat of tonight's episode. And that is Tiger Woods' top 5 majors, in my opinion, of all time. Folks, I'm going to give you a full list of all 15 majors that Tiger has won. So you have context, and then we'll start to get into the discussion. But Tiger has won the 1997 Masters, the 1999 PGA Championship, the 2000 US Open, the 2000 British Open, the 2000 PGA Championship, the 2001 Masters, the 2002 Masters, the 2002 US Open, the 2005 Masters, the 2005 British Open, the 2006 British Open, the 2006 PGA Championship, the 2008 PGA Championship, the 2008 US Open, and of course, most recently, the 2019 Masters. Okay, so that's 15. Let me give you a little bit of a background here, right? So, there's a discussion ad infinitum about whether Tiger is the greatest player in the history of golf or the second greatest player in the history of golf, because Jack Nicklaus still holds the record for most majors won at 18. Tiger is currently sitting at 15 majors won. Professional majors, obviously. Folks, I tell you on the show all the time that stats never lie, but they also don't give you the full picture sometimes. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background, and then we're going to get into my opinion of Tiger's top 5 majors. So Tiger, he won at least one major 4 years in a row, and he did that twice, 1999 through 2000 and 2005 through 2008. Jack won at least one major a year, 4 years in a row, once, from 1970 to 1973. 13 golfers have won consecutive majors in the same year. Now, Jack did it once. Ben Hogan, Bobby Jones, and Gene Sarazen, they each did it twice. Tiger's done it 4 times. Another fact for you. Ben Hogan won 3 majors in 1953 in a row. Tiger, of course, did the same thing in 2000. There are 21 golfers who have won 2 majors in the same year. Now, Jack Nicklaus has done it 5 times. Tiger has done it 4 times. I don't know if you folks realize this. Jack Nicklaus was incredibly healthy throughout the vast majority of his long, long golf career. And that is to his credit. He was and will always be a tremendous golfer, one of the greatest golfers in the history of the sport. But do you folks know that Tiger, through various injuries, and some of these have been obviously brought on by poor choices in his personal life. Some of these are just literally the kind of thing that can happen to any athlete. But be that as it may, Tiger has missed over 5 years of majors. Over 5 years of majors. He's missed over 22, and counting, by the way, majors since he began as a professional in 1997. That is mind-boggling when you think about it, because he has 15 major wins, and he's literally missed, has not competed, has not started in over 20 majors over the last, since 1997, whatever the math is on that. So, food for thought. Now, to the list. Number 5, I'm doing these in order. Reverse order, of course. Number 5 of Tiger's top 5 majors of all time, the 2019 Masters. Folks, it had been over a decade since Tiger had won a major. He won the 2008 U.S. Open. That was the last major he won before the 2019 Masters. So it was so unexpected how things broke. And for him to use the knowledge and experience that he had through years of golf, it was unbelievable to see. This major, the 2019 Masters, is top 5 for Tiger because of the time in between the major wins and the very fact that at his age, he did not fail to execute. He must have been incredibly nervous, incredibly what if in his mind throughout the entire final round. And that final round was wild, folks. I don't know if you remember it or not, but there were lead changes. Obviously, all the blowups on 12 before and during Tiger's group actually getting to the tee. It was things were happening all over the place, as often happens in almost every Masters. But for him to be able to focus and to block out all the what if possibilities, good and bad, and execute in the moment literally speaks to his greatness after having not won a major in over a decade. And as you get older, the ability to execute becomes more difficult because you have scars, you have scar tissue. You actually remember when you didn't come through. So for him to be able to ask Tom Watson, who was on the verge of winning the PGA Championship at 60 years old and ended up losing to Stuart Sink because on the 72nd hole, he wasn't able to execute. Folks, it was a remarkable, remarkable win. And to me, it was his 5th most impressive major title. And I got to tell you, I've never heard a reaction like I heard after Tiger's putt went in, his final putt to actually win the tournament. Augusta National, those patrons went wild. And we've all seen boisterous Tiger crowds, but go back, take a look. It is absolutely remarkable. I've never seen anything like it in golf before or since. Number 4. The number 4, in my opinion, most impressive, number 4 top 5 Tiger majors of all time was the 2001 Masters. Folks, I know the story behind the 2001 Masters. So many critics made the argument, well, is it a Grand Slam or not? Because it did not happen in a calendar year, even though Tiger won 4 in a row. He won the 2000 U.S. Open, 2000 British Open, 2000 PGA, and then his very next major the following year in 2001 was the 2001 Masters. Look, this win completed the Tiger Slam for Tiger Woods. And say what you want to about Grand Slam versus Tiger Slam. To me, none of it matters. The man won 4 majors in a row. That is something no one has ever done in the history of professional golf. No one has ever won 4 professional majors in a row. It hasn't been done except by one man, Tiger Woods. It's easily one of the greatest accomplishments, easily, in the history of the sport. I'm going to give you a little quick little note about Tiger going into that Masters. Now remember, he has the pressure of trying to complete this quote-unquote Tiger Slam. Tiger has always considered it the Grand Slam because he held all 4 major titles at the same time. Didn't matter to him whether it was in a calendar year or not. He considered it a Grand Slam. I myself consider it a Tiger Slam, which is not the worst thing in the world at all. He won 4 majors in a row. Who cares? But with all the pressure of trying to complete the 4th leg of, obviously, in my opinion, the Tiger Slam, this is what he did prior to the Masters. He won at Bay Hill, Arnold Palmer's tournament. He won the Players' Championship. And then he won the Masters in 3 consecutive starts. What were his next 2 starts after that? He followed that up with a 3rd place finish at the Byron Nelson. And then he won the Memorial, which is Jack Nicklaus's tournament. What a run. What a stretch. Unbelievable stretch of golf. But again, that's why he's Tiger Woods. Number 3, the number 3 top 5 major win of Tiger Woods in history is the 2008 U.S. Open. Folks, the man won the tournament on a broken leg. And I know people say, whoa, what are you talking about? The broken leg, bro. Look, it wasn't hanging off. It wasn't sticking through his golf pants, but he had a fractured, I believe it was a fibula. He had a fractured leg. And he played 5 rounds of golf and 1 extra hole to win that U.S. Open. Folks, in my mind, this is easily one of the most impressive accomplishments of Tiger's entire career. I'm going to read you a couple of things that I looked up. We all know that Tiger made a putt on 18 in regulation on the 72nd hole. I think it was like a 12-foot putt. What was it? Yeah, I think it was a 12-foot putt on bumpy Poana greens out at Torrey Pines to actually get into the playoff, which was a 1-day playoff, 18-hole playoff with Rocco Mediate. He makes that putt. But what I hadn't remembered is that Tiger also, even though he jumped out to a 3-shot lead the next day, and he had a 3-shot lead on the back 9 of the playoff, of the 18-hole playoff, he loses it all and actually goes down a stroke and has to make another putt on the 18th hole of the playoff to get to sudden death. And then he wins it on the 19th hole, the next sudden death extra hole. This is all on a broken leg. Now, folks, let's be fair. If you watched any of the 2008 U.S. Open, you saw Tiger wincing after various swings. And I got to be honest. Sometimes Tiger can come off like A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, or someone like even Derek Jeter to a degree, in the sense that you don't necessarily believe the level of sincerity that is actually coming across. Let's be honest, Tiger sometimes can be a little bit of a drama queen. But we all found out after the fact, even with all that wincing, that he literally had a fractured leg. He had a broken leg that entire tournament. The man had knee surgery after the Masters that year. He came in second to Trevor Immelman. He lost by 3 that Masters. Had knee surgery for the 3rd time on the same knee 58 days before the U.S. Open. Played in the U.S. Open 5 rounds and an extra hole and won it. I mean, folks, I'm going to give you some numbers here, and I'm going to let you know exactly how dominant Tiger was at this point in his career. Now, going into Torrey Pines, the 2008 U.S. Open. Tiger had won 13 of 45 majors from 1997 to 2008. That's a 29% win percentage. Unheard of. During that span, Tiger was 125 under par in those majors, in those 45 majors. This is according to PGAtour.com. He was 198 shots better than any other player during that entire span, from 1997 to going into the 2008 U.S. Open. Ernie Els and Phil Mickelson, who in that same span were plus 73 and plus 74 in relation to par, were the only two players within 200 shots of Tiger Woods from 1997, from the 1997 Masters going into the 2008 U.S. Open. I mean, it is pure and utter dominance. In round one, Tiger started with a double bogey, ended up carding a plus 172. In round two, Tiger, invisible paint at this point, carded a 38 on the front nine, but then he made 5 birdies on the back and finished with a 68, which left him 1 off the lead. Round 3 of the 2008 U.S. Open. Tiger started again with another double bogey on the first hole. He shot 37 on the front, but then eagle 13, chipped in on 17, and holed a monster putt on 18 for eagle to card a 70 and take the lead by 1 over Lee Westwood and by 2 over Rocco Mediate. This is going into the 4th and final round. Folks, I'm not sure if you remember this fact or not, but when Tiger won the 2008 U.S. Open at Torrey Pines, he was 3 years younger than when Jack had won his 14th major. The 2008 U.S. Open was Tiger's 14th major. He was 3 years younger than Jack Nicklaus was when he had won his 14th major. Was there any doubt that he was going to catch Jack Nicklaus? We had no idea what the future held for him, but was there any doubt in your mind? There was no doubt in my mind. All right, which brings us to the number 2. The second top 5 major in Tiger Woods' major career. Obviously, it's the 2000 U.S. Open. Folks, has golf ever been played at a higher level than that week that Tiger played Pebble Beach for the 2000 U.S. Open, the 100th U.S. Open at that point? Look, obviously, it was the largest margin of victory of any major in the history of the sport. Here are just a few of the records that Tiger set that marvelous, magnificent week. He was the first player in U.S. Open history, which spanned 106 years, and it was in its 100th edition, to finish double digits under par. Tiger shot 12 under that week. He beat the all-time mark of 13 strokes of victory by, let me say that again. The old mark was 13-stroke victory, and that was by Old Tom Morris in the 1862 Open Championship. It was a record that stood for 132 years. Tiger beat that mark by 2 strokes. He won the U.S. Open by 15. And one of the things that keeps getting said over and over and over again over the years is he did this at a U.S. Open. This is supposed to be golf's toughest test. And he not only shattered the course, but he shattered the field. I mean, it was unbelievable. You really can't put what he did that week into perspective until you think about it via the numbers. His 272 cumulative score over 4 rounds tied the lowest score at a U.S. Open ever. Jack in 1980 had shot 272, and Lee Janzen in 1993, he also shot 272. Tiger became the first player to win a U.S. Junior Amateur, a U.S. Amateur, and a USGA Championship, U.S. Open. Now, the strangest thing about this stat, no other player had done it, but the strangest thing about this is that the USGA Junior Amateur, right? It was started in 1948. That's the only USGA championship for which Jack Nicklaus was eligible but did not win. Jack, he qualified 5 times for the USGA Junior, and his best finish was as a semifinalist in 1956. Ray Ratto, who was a tremendous columnist. I believe Ray's still alive, I'm not sure. But he's a great columnist for the San Francisco Examiner at the time. He was writing for ESPN.com back in 2000. And I want to read to you a quote that he wrote. He wrote this for ESPN.com. And this was on Thursday, June 22nd of 2000. A few days after some of the dust had settled from Tiger's tremendous 15-stroke win in the 2008 U.S. Open. Here's what Ratto wrote. The possibility that he, Tiger Woods, might not manage it being breaking Jack Nicklaus's record of 18 majors, at all no longer occurs to anyone. Right now, Woods cannot be injured, cannot get distracted by love or family, cannot be bored, cannot get burned out, largely because we, the public, said he can't, like we have some say. Folks, that's a tremendous quote. This was written back in 2000. I mean, obviously no one knew what the future held, but the future was full of injuries for Tiger. The future was full of scandal, family issues, a divorce. And this is all in 2000. This was Tiger's 3rd major win. 3. I mean, he wasn't on 9 or 12 or 11 or 7. This was his 3rd win. He'd won the PGA in 1999 over Sergio in a gritty, gutty effort. He beat Sergio by 1. I think it was in Medina in Chicago. But this was his 3rd major win. And because he shattered the record books with this win, it opened up an entire possibility of unlimited scenarios for Tiger. It's amazing. That's what the 2000 U.S. Open did. It validated what he did at Augusta in 1997. And it showed us all what could be if this guy continues to play golf, which he did. Now, that brings us to the number 1 major in Tiger Woods' career, which is obviously the 1997 Masters. Folks, you cannot understate the importance and the value of Tiger winning the 1997 Masters, especially the way in which he did it. I'm going to read you some records that were set that week. And some of these you know, some of these you don't know. Tiger, obviously, he was the youngest winner of the Masters ever. He was 21 years old, 3 months and 14 days. And he beat the youngest record by Seve. Seve was 23 years old, Seve Ballesteros. Tremendous golfer, obviously. 18 under, set the record at the time for the lowest 72-hole score, and it was the largest margin of victory at the Masters. Tiger won by 12, remember. It's a 21-year-old kid that beat Jack Nicklaus's 1965 winning margin by 3 strokes. Jack won in 1965 by 9 shots. Tiger's 1997 win had the most it had the most threes on the scorecard by a champion, by a winner of the Masters. Tiger carded 26 threes during that week, those 4 rounds. It was a feat that he matched in 2005 when he won again. Now, the previous mark, the old record was 22 threes on the scorecard over 4 days at Augusta. Tiger had 26 threes twice, 1997 and 2005. In 1997, those threes included 10 pars, 14 birdies, and 2 eagles. Just tremendous, tremendous golf. Now, of course, Tiger was also the youngest player to shoot 65. Tiger's third round 65 shattered the mark that was set a year earlier in 1996 by one Phil Mickelson, who was well into his 25th year when he shot that 65 in 1996. Tiger was also the youngest player to shoot 30 on the back 9. Now, we all remember famously during that first round of the 1997 Masters how Tiger shot 40 on the front 9, goes out and shoots 30 on the back to keep himself in the tournament. Now, the old record for the youngest player to shoot 30 on the back 9, it happened in 1974. The player was named Maurice Bembridge. And how old was Maurice when he shot 30 on the back 9? I'm sorry. What did he shoot on the back 9? Maurice shot... I don't know what Maurice shot on the back 9. Actually, I didn't write that down. But Maurice was 29 at the time. So, Tiger was 21, shoots 30. And he beat a record held by Maurice Bembridge from 1974, who was 29 at the time. Tiger also had the lowest final 63 holes in Masters history. He shot 22 under, beating the previous record holders, Jack Nicklaus and Johnny Miller, who each shot 13 under for the final 63 holes. That was in 1965 and 1975, respectively. Tiger was the most strokes under par on the back 9 for the entire tournament. For those 36 holes, Tiger shot 16 under, which beat the old record set in 1962 by Arnold Palmer, who shot 12 under for the back 9. Now, here's another stat. This is the last stat I'm going to leave you with. For the back 9 holes, for the entire tournament, the back 9 holes played at par or better. No one in Masters history has ever played the back 9 holes over the course of 4 days without a bogey. And that is what Tiger did in 1997. He played all 36 holes, 9, 9, 9, and 9 on the back 9 without a bogey in 1997. There had only been 2 other players. That's Ben Hogan in 1951 and Ben Crenshaw in 1995, who played the back 9 all 4 days, who only had 1 bogey. So if you look at the names in some of these records broken for the 1997 Masters, Hogan, Nicklaus, Miller, Palmer, Mickelson, Saracen. I mean, there is a reason that we talk about Tiger Woods to this day. In some ways, if you go back with the knowledge of 2020 hindsight, if you go back and look at what he accomplished during the course of a tremendous career, there is a reason we talk about him the way that we do. Because in my opinion, he is the greatest player in the history of golf. No one changed golf courses through his play the way that Tiger did. I mean, how many golf courses were lengthened because they said golf decided they needed to, quote unquote, Tiger proof some of their events? Augusta National itself was lengthened, trees were added. They did all sorts of things to that course from 1997 to 2008 that completely changed the nature and character of that golf course. Still a great event, but Jack Nicklaus largely played the same course for about 30 years. Tiger played Augusta National one way in 1997, and the changes began shortly after that to where it is a completely different course in 2025. So there's no right answer or wrong answer in my opinion, but I do think Tiger is the greatest player in the history of golf for a multitude of reasons, even though he's only won 15 majors versus Jack's 18. Now, folks, we've come to the part of the show where I get to ask you my favorite question. What are you drinking tonight? Well, I can tell you what I'm drinking, and that is Tire Fire Single Malt Whiskey. Folks, I'm going to give you some information about this, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about it. This is bottled and distilled by a company called ASW Distillery. They are located in Atlanta, Georgia, and that name may sound familiar to you. And if it does, it may be because these are the same producers of Duality Double Malt, which we reviewed on episode 15 of the Stomp the Tee podcast. Now, I bought this bottle for $47. It is 57.4% ABV, which makes it 114.8 proof. There's no age statement. They're on the label, they describe it as puckishly peated. Now, folks, are going to read you something from the bottle. And this kind of says everything that you want to know. It's a very heavily peated single malt. But one of the paragraphs they use to describe it says, the nose is a bouquet of barbecue. The palate whisks you to salt-sprayed islands in the far north. The smoky finish, like the Northwest Passage, lasts a brief eternity. Now, folks, I have to tell you, this Tire Fire single malt whiskey, it is more complex than I thought it would be. I thought it would just be all smoke, all peat, whatever. It's a little more complex than that. I do say you have to drink it, you being me. I have to drink it in moderation if I'm drinking it straight or with an ice cube. I have to drink it in moderation simply because it is so peaty. It's a little on the richer side. So, you don't want to get something that's heartburny or whatever. Flavor, I will tell you this. Even though it's very peaty, the burn outside of the proof, this is again 114.8 proof, it's muted. The burn is very muted. Now, again, it's rich, it's malty, it's very, very, very peaty. I think it would probably be terrific in a highball, but I think at $47, it is a fine addition to your bar. It's completely worth having it around. Now, am I going to go through the bottle of Tire Fire single malt whiskey in a week or 2 weeks? No, I'll probably keep it around for like between now and the fall. I'll probably finish it sometime in the fall because obviously I have other things that I can drink. But it's completely worth having, especially at $47. It's a good value. But there are a lot of people who do not like a heavily peated single malt. And if you're one of those people, this is not for you. I am not a big fan of peated whiskeys to begin with. That's why I'm not a huge Scotch fan historically. But the more this past calendar year, the more Scotch I've actually had, the more I've become accustomed to and started to appreciate the flavor and value that peat can add to a whiskey. So there you have it. Folks, that is the show for tonight. Don't forget to, again, subscribe, like, tell all your friends, tell all your enemies. We will be right back here for you next week on the Stomp the Tee podcast. My name is Cyrus Farmer. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, we will see you on the first tee, even if it's windy and freezing.